Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I forgot to put myself back in the stream there for a second. That was a good start, wasn't it? Wow, wow, wow. And you're probably thinking to yourself right now, where is my partner in crime, Amy? And the answer to that is she went out with her mates today, and I don't think she's watched the game, to be honest. So she's picked one to miss, and she's not back yet to be able to join the conversation. But she's probably drowning her sorrows after that sorrowful performance from Wolves, which obviously finished Wolves 0, Burnley 4. Lots of things to talk into this. I'm going to be really interesting to see the comments from people coming through. So I'm kind of flying solo tonight, hosting the show, but I won't be flying solo because I will have plenty of guests joining us. So I just want to say hello to everyone in the already in the chat. We've got 60 people watching. Please join in if you want to get on the show tonight as well to talk about that game. Just send the Always Wolves Facebook page an actual message. Here it is up here. And they will then get you the link to get on the show. And before we get started, I do want to say a massive big thanks to the guys and girls over at Spider VPN who are powering the show today. Basically, it's like a router for your home, and it basically means that you can do loads of magical things in terms of like as a VPN, but it's not actually on your device. It's an actual router. Very, very popular. It's been proven, and they can deliver anywhere in the world. So let's see. Already we've got backstage. We've got Thomas. We've got Craig, who's looking very dapper tonight. I can see back in the green room tonight. We've got Statman Speedy. We've got Scott, who's fresh from his Bushbury Hillside's first win of the season. 6-0 they won today. He coaches them. And we do have a special guest all the way from Norway. And we've got Chris. And we're going to get Chris on first because I think Norway are about an hour behind. So I'm going to bring Chris on right now. Hey, Chris.
Hi, Dave.
How you doing? What's the time in Norway at the moment, mate?
Well, we're actually an hour in front.
An hour in front.
So it's 6 minutes past 9. So,
6 minutes past 9. Just been told as well, Roger Tomlinson's just put up that the West Birmingham Baggy Birds have just taken a 2-1 lead over Aston Villa.
Indeed, yeah, I see that, yeah.
As well. So they're fighting for their lives. But, I mean, I'm going to... obviously going to talk about the game. I know that you've got some points that you'd like to make as well, Chris, tonight. But the only positive that I can take out of it tonight is the fact that there's a master plan that we lose to Burnley. Oh, no, and then Villa was supposed to beat Albion, so that's not working out, is it? Because we could have relegated them next week. So, Chris, let's kick off. Mate. What are your points that you'd like to make about this performance and results?
Right, obviously the result... I don't need to say much about that, do I really? It's absolutely atrocious and the performance was bad. Let me tell you, where do I start really? Okay, this is what worries me now. I'm a legacy fan, to use a newly invented term.
Super League, yeah.
Yes,
the rest of us are all legacy fans.
Yeah. Now, what worries me is I've seen that kind of performance before over time when it's been very clear that a manager's finished. Now, I'll just some examples to people who will have been around as long as me and you, Dave. Graham Turner's last game, Portsmouth away. I remember Barnsley away, one of Graham Taylor's last games. I recall various others, Barnsley at home, so it was Walter Zenga. The Albion game when Mick got sacked. Look, I hate to say it, it looked like one of those games.
Well, Terry's saying, I bet your tankard's got a dent in it, mate, tonight.
Well, I wouldn't say it's got a dent in it, but it's got a lot of dust on it. I don't get to use it very often these days, do I?
No, but when you do, I mean, everyone loves your tankard on the International Fan when it comes out, and you pour it in, mate. It's one of the, it's become a feature now, hasn't it? But as I say, okay, the last 2 games, the performances weren't particularly fantastic, but we got the job done.
Yeah.
But today, start to finish, I mean, I said on my actual instant reaction, Burnley were better than us in every single part of the pitch, in every single position. They had more fight, more energy, more quality, more everything. And I mean, I personally think, from saying it, I think that's the complete worst performance I've seen from a Nuno side. I can't think of one that it's been that bad the whole way through, because you always think, oh, second half we'll be a bit. We didn't even have that, did we?
No, I mean, look, sometimes I got one thing I don't like about this season is I'm watching games, and I've been quite angry watching games. But you know what? At 2-0, surprisingly, me and my boy, we weren't angry. We went past it. We went past it because we could see it was done. It was done at 2-0. No question about it. But what really worries me, but so much was bad. Now, Bolly rarely makes mistakes. Well, and he certainly doesn't miss headers. I mean, look what happened in the space of a minute. He nearly gave away 2 goals. The Traore, in fact,
it was a good recovery, to be fair, wasn't it? The first one.
Yeah, but thank God for it. But no, he doesn't do that. This is our 4th season with Willy Bolly. He doesn't do that. No, but the other goals were, I mean, all goals were mistakes. All goals were given to them. How many more could it have been? If it had been 0-6,
no one would have probably argued today.
No,
I mean, they scored the 4th goal. It was just slightly offside, and I called it that way. But he did take it well. But I felt like Burnley were playing with so much confidence. They were playing like a top 4 side. Well, we made them look like a top 4 side today, and we looked like a side that had given up the ghost and were already relegated, which was disappointing to see. I felt like there didn't look like there was any structure to the formation, that we didn't know what we were doing, that the defence were all at sea, the midfield were absent without leave. I mean, the strikers, the forwards. I mean, you normally can pick something, can't you, out the game in terms of some positive, but I was struggling today. I mean, can you pick a positive out of it, Chris?
The only thing I would say is I thought Aït-Nouri played okay, but not a positive.
I called him my man of the match.
Yeah, but I'll pick one incident out of the game, which really, really, God, I hated to see it. Now, the worst thing you can say to a professional footballer is not giving 100% or bottling it. Now, there was one incident, the start of the second half, Dendoncker gave the ball away, then had the opportunity to win it back in a tackle, and he bottled it. I think other people would have seen. You'd have seen that, Dave, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
That's my takeaway from that game.
Yeah.
And I don't like to see that at all. It was like a 60-40 challenge in his favour. And he bottled it. And they nearly scored from it, didn't they? I think it was Westwood who had a shot.
They did. I mean, and they looked like they were going to score every time they got. I mean, before the goals, you could see coming down the flanks that we had to cut the crosses out. I mean, Semedo, I do like Semedo as a player. I think he's got a lot about him, but he does seem to, positional-wise, in that wing-back role, he doesn't seem to get tight enough to me. And there was crosses coming in, and the goals were calamitous. I mean, the first goal, Cody got bullied by Chris Wood, but Cody doesn't, in my opinion, like playing against those type of strikers. Antonio from West Ham, Mitrovic from Fulham, those really strong strikers that hold the ball up, that can roll him and stuff like that. He gets done a lot and exposed. And the second goal, Traore, you do not want Traore on the edge of your own box trying to play it out. He played a pass, it was telegraphed, it cut out, tapping for Chris.
Telegraphed,
Corner comes in. Where was the punch from Rui? Where was the defending? It was like the guy headed it in from like pretty much a yard out. It couldn't miss.
Well, actually, it was William Jose who was supposed to be marking him. It was a terrible attempt at marking. And but yeah, I mean, Rui's got to be out of his fists for that one, hasn't he? It's been a poor season for him. Let's be fair.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can't say that Rui was. Someone said he was at fault for the first goal, but I was thinking, he got to it. It was a good shot from Chris Wood.
No,
and then the fourth goal, Saiz had the ball, and it got taken off him, and then they just crossed. It was a bit like that goal that England scored, if you remember, 5-1 against Holland, when they passed it across.
Yeah. Oh God,
very similar to that. And he put it in. I mean, there's obviously the people again calling on Nuno. I mean, what are your thoughts on Nuno? Because I know that you've got some thoughts on it. Are you on the thoughts where you think he should go? I'm not in that position at the moment, but I don't know how you feel.
Right, I'm going to give you two scenarios here.
Yeah.
One scenario is that Fosun allow Nuno to regenerate the squad, spend a bit of money, and have a bit of a reset. And the other theory is that he's got to work with the same players. Now, if Fosun allow him to spend a bit of money and regenerate the squad and move on to another phase of a project, then I think he could be the man. I think he could take us forward. However, given the other scenario, working with the same set of players, it's gone. I think he's lost them. But today's show,
you think he's lost the dressing room?
What lost the dressing room is something us fans say, isn't it? And whether we know what that really means, I don't know. But yeah, it looked to me as if, I mean, obviously he didn't want them to play like that, right? Of course he didn't. But they did.
Nuno has basically said, hasn't he? I mean, he's commented on it about the performance. I mean, looking at some quotes, very bad performance, too many things went wrong, hard to explain. I mean, that's the concern, hard to explain. Bad defending, not the right decision. Under pressure, Burnley pressed us. We didn't have the movement to get out the pressure. We defended very bad. You know, he says, I don't sense a lack of commitment or effort. They're just so passive. You know, I mean, that was from some of the commentators and the journalists out there. You know, I mean, I'm guessing which camp are you in? Do you think we need a change of coach, or are you happy to give him a bit more time for next season?
Isn't it horrible to say the best manager of my lifetime?
Yeah.
So grateful for him. But like I say, they're the two scenarios I got in my head. If it's worked with pretty much the same players, I think he's done with this group. I think it needs a change of voice.
Right.
Yes, I really do. However, if he's able to spend a bit of money and swap 4 or 5 out, then maybe he could. But I just think, look, he's been manager for 4 years. How many managers of a football club are there for 4, 5, 6 years? Not many. I honestly think the same people need a new voice. I really do.
Okay,
but
well, that's
totally done.
Yeah, no, that's a fair. I mean, it's a fair comment. I mean, I'll tell you where I am, and I'm obviously we've got other people that'll be coming on. And we've got Dinny from Ireland making his debut a little later on in the show as well. We've got a young lad called Thomas. We've got Craig. Statman's here. We've got Scott, as I say. But I mean, I see it on social, and you know me, Chris. I try to be ever so positive all the time. I mean, even during my life, I'm trying to be positive. My spin and my gut feeling is that Nuno's done enough in taking us from the bottom half of the Championship to 7th place finish of Europa League. And yes, we've had, let's face it, we haven't had a great season this year, but we're still 12th and we've had a crap season. We're still 12th. And we've had all the injuries that we've had to deal with. Jimenez, we were 6 when he got injured. Johnny Otto out, coming back 7 games, injured. Pedro Neto has probably had a breakthrough season. Our star player this year, injured. Marcel made a glass, injured. Bolly's been out. Then he's got people out with, you know, COVID and stuff, and then all the other little niggly injuries. And I know a lot of teams have had injuries to deal with. I mean, you take a look at Liverpool, for example. Liverpool steamrolled the title last year. They've had a few key players that have gone out, and they're struggling to qualify for Europe this year. And when you lose key players like what Wolves and Liverpool have, and then you put into the context as well, Wolves had that amazingly 13-month season, a 3-day pre-season, no fans. And I know a lot of teams have had no fans, but Sheffield United, I think they would be a lot higher in the table if they had their fans. West Ham, a lot of the West Ham fans will turn around and say it's done them a lot of good not having their fans there. So in that context, with the season that's gone and the pandemic and the injuries and all of it, it's been so. And then obviously a lot of the international players, and Nuno's not seeing his family for a long period, it's going to mentally affect anyone. I think he's earned the right to get to the end of the season for us all to forget this season, almost like Bobby Ewing all them years ago in Dallas, where he was in the he woke up and it was in the shower. It never really happened. It was all happened. All a dream.
Yeah. If only.
Just bin this season off. Get to the end of the season. Let's enjoy or not enjoy the Euros and reset in the summer.
Yeah.
And I think it's glaringly obvious, Chris, that we have to bring in players in the summer, not players that are for 1, 2 or 3 years down the line. They have to bring in players that are going to make a difference to this team now, i.e. we need a brand new central defender, 100% priority. We need a box-to-box midfielder, and we need the right striker, whoever that is, back up. I think Fabio Silva's definitely showed signs that he's going to be a good player. But he's still a boy, really, coming through. I mean, thoughts on that? If we get the right reinforcements in, where do you think we need to strengthen in the summer? And how are you thinking about the looking ahead in the last minute here on the Albion game, mate?
I'm thinking basically, it's very difficult to argue with anything you've said there. There are massive mitigating circumstances, without a doubt. So I don't really mind. That's why listen, if he doesn't get fired, it's fine for me. I'm not going to be really angry or anything if he doesn't, because I really love the guy. But it's just today was that bad. It was that bad. Positionally, what you said, look, we've needed this for years. We needed a box-to-box midfielder for years. We needed a strong centre-half for years. These are the central defenders or even midfielders that got us out of the Championship playing in defence. So it's whether Fosun will allow him to do this. If he stays, it's fine for me, because there's massive credit in the bank, as you said. But, mate, you know what? Looking at the clock here, I'll make it brief. If we put in a similar performance and get a similar result at the Hawthorns next week, most people will turn. You know that, and I know that.
Well, it did happen with Mick McCarthy, and look where we ended up in League One. Yeah. I would think that we're not going to, even if we got tonked 5-1 by Baggies next week, and we're all going to be angry about it, I still wouldn't change for position, because I saw, and we all saw what happened when Mick went. Mick should have probably gone in the summer before that season.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the way they dealt with it, I think my view is, just to finish off with, I think that we personally, and people come on and disagree with me or agree with me, I think we've got to really see where we are the first 10 and 15 games. And if it's the same, the start of next season, then maybe I think that's probably where I will be at that point. But I personally believe that in life, sometimes you take a step back and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You learn from it and you get better for next season. Man of the match and your performance rating, just to finish off on, Chris?
I'm not going to give him man of the match. I can't justify it. And a performance rating, if he's had a 10, we got so much wrong, I'm going to give it a 1 or a 2.
Fair play, mate. Most people did on the street.
I don't like being that negative, but I've tried to be constructive as well, but it doesn't warrant any kind of grading. Sorry.
No, and can you just show everyone your nice T-shirt? Because I've noticed you've got the international fan T-shirt.
Yeah, and you know what? I encourage people to order them because it's really comfortable. It's a great match day T-shirt, but I'm starting to wonder whether it's
unlucky,
as I am, as we all are. But it's a bit unlucky. But yeah, I love it. Absolutely,
no, it's great, and it's good quality as well, isn't it, mate?
It is. Yeah, it is. The amount of times I've watched it, yeah.
And if anybody wants that, they can get it off the store. Chris, you've made some great points tonight. Hopefully, you'll see. I think you'll see Chris on the international fan reaction when it comes out tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting. Your instant reactions after the game. But hopefully, the tankard will be out next week against the West Birmingham Baggy Birds. Finger crossed.
Gathering a lot of dust. Need to get it out for sure.
All right, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, mate. Nice to talk.
That's absolutely great to have Chris on there. And we're going to quickly move straight over to a young man. So let's get a young man's version of this. Look at that wall stuff in the background that you've got there going, mate. Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello. Oh, wow.
And what have you got today? What are your points about today's performance, mate?
I only really watched the second half. I was busy in the morning, but what a dreadful performance that was. Dendoncker and Seiss, I'm not sure what went wrong with them. Dendoncker especially. I think he really was not up to it. I mean, I think next match we should be looking at the bench, thinking Vitinha, Otazawi, Gibbs-White, because we bring them on for energy, and sometimes they give us that. And I think we need to see more of Vitinha. His loan finishes soon. I think he's been
not getting many minutes, is he, at the moment, Vitinha?
No, it's not fair on him as well, because saw what he did in the FA Cup. Yes, it was against Chorley, but it was a pretty good goal. It swerved and curved, and the keeper couldn't save it. Yet somehow we're playing Dendoncker. I think we're safe. I don't think we're going down.
We are. I think we are safe. 41 points, mate. Definitely. We've got no worries about going down. It felt a little bit at times like they were on the beach. I mean, I remember like Wolves when we won the championship, it was 99 points, and we only needed a point against Sunderland, and they got the flip flops on, and for some reason we lost that game, and Sunderland were dreadful that season. And Burnley, you know, they haven't had a great season. In fact, I saw a stat that something like 14 or 17% of Burnley's goals this season have now come against Wolves. And it's their biggest away win in the top flight since 1965 or something like that.
It's mental. We've now conceded 4 goals. We've now been in a match where it's a 4-0 loss. 3 times this season: West Ham, Liverpool, and Burnley. Obviously conceded 4 goals against City as well. But defensively, it was poor. Seiss was poor. Bolly wasn't himself. And Cody, again, I think he went under the radar a bit. I mean, you always see sort of Seiss and Bolly always going to try and get it. But we were second to every ball. We weren't sharp. And I think the thing that bothered me was I was watching it, and second half, we're 3-0 down. I'm thinking, right, we've lost this game. The only thing we can really get is a draw, if that. Why has he not changed it to 4 at the back? I know we leak more defensively, but going off that first half and 4 at the back, he's taken Semedo off for Fabio. That's where he's got a great opportunity to take someone off for Fabio in the defence or centre-backs, and then play a 4 at the back, which creates more opportunities. But the opportunities we did create with 3, Adama had most of the ball in attack, didn't do much. Fabio, when he came on, tried but didn't do much. Jose, again, doesn't move enough. Podence tried his best, but it was all very limited. We just couldn't really deliver anything, and it was a very poor performance.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first 5 or 10 minutes, I thought we weren't looking too bad, but there was a few dangers. But you could see straight from the beginning, Burnley came out the traps, and the way they pressed Wolves, and they were still pressing Wolves in the 92nd minute.
Yeah.
Their energy, and we did none of that. We didn't close them down. You look at Man City when they play, and those things, they lose the ball, they get it back, and we didn't seem to do that. And when we got the ball, I mean, did you notice the amount of passes today that we just passed straight to their players? We were panicking. They're trying to, and they just harassed us and hurried us. And a good side, a really good side, yeah. On our day, like of City or someone like that, they'll pass their way around that press.
Yeah.
But Wolves just didn't seem to be able to do that or cope with it today. And Burnley, you have to give credit for them for their fire that they had inside them, and they just never stopped. And we got that, they got that goal, and their confidence just kept going up and up. And then we just seemed clueless to be able to have any answer to it. I was hoping we'd see a difference in the second half.
Yeah.
Personally, I would have liked to have seen Nuno change something at half time rather than, you know, stick with it.
I think so.
You know, but I know he does believe in the players, and he probably said to them, look, okay, put that aside, let's go and shout. But I think he should have made the change at half time today. Looking forward to the West Brom game and the rest of the season. I mean, how are you feeling about Nuno's position, and also what's your man of the match today and your performance rating, Thomas?
I think when it comes to Nuno, I think he's done so well for us. But there were times in that match where I'm thinking, right, let's bring someone else on or switch tactically so we can try and look a bit more exciting and up for it. Neves tried to spread the play wide, which is what he does best. Gibbs White did that as well. But when you're playing three at the back for a whole match, if we wanted to progress now into four at the back, we now have to do that with the games we've got. These games for us, apart from West Brom, which is the derby day that we want this, if we wanted to win a game, it's this. That West Brom game we want to win, because this match is poor. We go into West Brom, we win, hopes are high. But with Nuno, I think Nuno's the right man. He's done so well for us, but I think tactically he's not had enough time. And I mean, he's a young manager. He is. I mean, like, I think we can implement the four at the back. I think we will implement the four at the back next season. I hope Nuno stays, but I do see him in trouble if West Brom or any other matches, because we've got Brighton as well, where we bottled.
Well, we never beat Brighton. We batter Brighton, and we could have more. They could have no shots and still manage to beat us somehow. Brighton, they're such a bogey side. Any side beginning with the letter B, we don't seem to do very well against.
No, it's like Newcastle as well, always 1-1. But I think going into West Brom, let's play Otazawi instead of Dendoncker, and I mean, we needed West Brom to lose, really, because this loss, the only positive we could have taken out is West Brom losing. Yet this loss is just rubbish, which it is, and you can't give a man of the match because none of them deserved it. They were poor. They didn't put much desire into the passes. Dendoncker again. I mean, it was one of the goals, or one of the they had a long shot. Dendoncker's gone in for the 50-50 and he's let the ball go through. And it's like, what are you doing? So
I must admit, I felt Dendoncker was missing in action tonight, but you could say that about a lot of the side. Yeah. I was trying to think when I was looking at my man of the match after the game, and I was trying to think, was he even on the pitch?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the donk and everything, but today it just didn't work in midfield at all for me.
It didn't. And for team rating, can you give one? Because we didn't play like a team. Most of the passes went to them. We were second to everything. If I was to give a rating, it would be 1 or 2 again, because we weren't sharp enough. I mean, it's good to see Rao back in training. I think that's a big thing. I don't think he'll play the season because of the World Cup and the Olympics. He's been denied for that, so I don't think he'll play the season. Johnny's very unlucky again. Neto as well. He's worked so hard this season, and I think he should take a lot of credit for us not being dragged into this relegation battle. But I definitely think that 1 and 9 man of the match, and let's try something new against West Brom. Let's go out there to beat them instead of go out there to play our game. That's what we've got to do.
Yeah, well, Barry reckons that you should be. If Nuno goes, we've got to make you manager. Brian Devaney says Thomas should give the team talk for the West Brom game. Thomas, I have to say, how old are you, Thomas?
13 now, yeah.
13. You talk very, very well, mate. Very calm, collected. You make some great points. Did you have a match yourself this morning?
I did, yeah.
So that's why you caught the second half. Who do you play for?
I play for a team just near where I live. I'm playing goal now.
Are you a keeper? I think I mentioned it. And did you win today?
No, we've not won all season, but we'll stay strong. Stay strong.
Stay strong, and I think that's the message for the Wolves team as well. Samuel Hughes said you hit the nail on the head as well, so that's great. Listen, mate, absolutely fantastic comment. I'd always enjoy your comment on the channel. And then let's hope that we've got a happier one after the West Brom game.
Hopefully,
all the best, mate.
Thank you.
There you go. Absolutely fantastic from young Thomas there today, coming on to the channel, giving some great points, I thought, for a very young man. And next up, well, the legend that is Statman Speedy. And Statman, I'm liking the new position that you've got for your camera. This is better. We can see more of you. You're normally distance on the bed, but this is much better. Hey, Statman, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
That's good. And how's your mom?
Yeah, she's good, thank you. Thank you for asking, Dave. Yeah, she's keeping going as best as she can, and I'm obviously supporting her. But yeah, she'll keep going. It won't get better.
We wish her all the best and with her illness and recovery. So let's give us the stats to start with before we get tucking into the game, mate. Everyone, sit back, kick up your heels, and let's hand over to Statman, who's going to give you the stats of the game.
Thank you, Dave. So thank you for letting me on the show. Here are the stats. So it was obviously, unfortunately, Burnley 4, Wolves 0. Wolves had 12 shots to Burnley's 14. On target for Wolves was 2. On target for Burnley was 7. Possession stat, 59% to Burnley's 41%. Passes, 458 for Wolves and 325 for Burnley. Passing accuracy, 77% for Wolves and 71% for Burnley. Fouls, 8 for Wolves, fouls, 9 for Burnley. Yellow cards, Wolves had 1 and Burnley had 2. No one got sent off. Offside, there was both teams got caught offside twice. 8 corners for Wolves and 5 for Burnley.
Absolutely fantastic, mate. You always put a lot of effort into the stats, mate. And literally, what comments would you like to make about the game? Thanks for giving us the stats.
It's all right. I always, you know, when you on your stream, I always, obviously, when you said bye and obviously do your reaction, I do it straight away. So I'm prepared. I give myself enough time to prepare for the show. Comments I'd like to make. It was very poor today, in my opinion. I'm a positive person, but it's quite hard to find a positive out of the game, to be honest with you. I just think as a team, there was no teamwork at all. And my mum was saying I was getting a bit stressed at the game because I was saying...
We're all getting stressed and frustrated and irritated, I think, Speedy.
Thank you. I think because... I said I get stressed because there's no desire to get the ball, or there's no desire when they have the ball to pass it quick, if you know what I mean. And I said, I know Manchester City are levels above other teams in terms of quality, but when they have the ball, they're playing quick passes. And when Wolves have it, like today, it was too slow. And every time, the way I see football is if you have the ball and you play too slow, the other team has time to get back into defence and midfield and get back in their shape. And it was just too slow today, but it was quite hard to watch. And I was actually quite shocked, to be honest with you, because obviously on your watch along, you always go watch your prediction. And obviously I predicted 2-0 and obviously it was 4-0, but it was, I think we made them look like Barcelona, to be honest with you, like you said. I said that when it was the third goal and went in. I went, we're making these look like Barcelona. And no offence to Burnley, they are a good side, and they're a physically good side. But I think we're a better team than them. We have better players for sure, but obviously they won today and we lost.
Well, it's a fair comment. I mean, Vinyl Revival saying here, Burnley are absolutely brilliant. More passion and fight. These are qualities that win Nuno's loyalty to Neves and some others crippling us. He will not give other players a start. I'm not sure that he's going to change the team much for West Brom, because I think for the West Brom, if he changes the team too much and then we lose, why did you change the team? And if he doesn't and we lose, why have you stuck with the same players? It's kind of in a no-win. It is a tough one, but in some ways, a defeat like this is just what the kick at the backside that sometimes you need. I mean, I think most Wolves fans, Stato, will accept any loss if there's some fight and passion and energy. And I don't think any one of us can probably turn around to the players and say there wasn't trying today. But there just didn't seem the same level of urgency, the same level of speed and energy and press. It just felt like we were going through the motions, and we just didn't seem to know how to play football today at all. And we just couldn't get our shape. And we just got tore apart. Every time Burnley came forward, you thought they were going to score again, didn't you? We were at the, it was just, it was crazy. Go on, Staff.
My mum said it was like they've just gone on a night out, and all of a sudden they've just remembered it was a game, and they're going, "Oh God, we best." Obviously, when the photographers are there, put a smile on. And obviously look like they want to play. I know it's a bit of sarcasm from my mum. But I do agree. There was no speed. There was nothing there that every time we had the ball, there was nothing there. You go, we're going to score here, or we're going to, you know what I mean? Every time they had the ball, it was frightening because it was 3, then it was 4, and then you're thinking, is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 6? And it was difficult to watch. But on to the West Brom game, I think obviously we all want to win as Wolves fans, and I think at the minute it doesn't matter how we win as long as we do win. But I've made a comment on, I think focus on next season. Like you say, if we have a proper pre-season, we can, like I say, we can do all the things we need to do, as in get the injured players back, get new players in. But like you said, 12th to 10th position, with what's happened with the injuries, with obviously like the players going up with COVID, in the transition, and it's going to be a 4 at the back, then it's going to be a 5, and then I think getting the tactics right and everything, getting it all right, 12th to 10th position is still brilliant in my opinion, and I'm still no win. Like I said, to finish 7th consecutively with a small squad as he likes, and to nearly beat Sevilla, who have won the competition, I think it's 5 or 6 times, is, in my opinion, remarkable for a side that still has championship players such as Cody, Neves, Barley and Saiz, and they're great players. It's just like if you did like a team and you said where they come from, like Sheffield United have League One players still, but they were brilliant. Like you say, with fans make a difference as well. And Wolves still have championship players, but they can play at that level. It's just this season, it's just unfortunate because of.
I think what you mean is, I'm not saying, I don't think you're saying that they are championship level players. I'm
No.
thinking what you're trying to say is they were with us in the Championship. I think everyone can see the likes of Neves that came into us in the Championship. You know, the reason we won the league so convincingly because they were, on the whole, much better players in the Championship. But, like, it doesn't matter how good you are or not. I mean, I'm going to come on to Neves in a little bit on the next caller, to be honest. But I just think we just didn't play like we played like a League Two team today. It was you felt like we weren't even in the game. You know, I mean, a League Two team on any one day can play well, but we just didn't win any of the battles or anything. To finish off with, Speedy, what's your overall performance rating for the team, and do you have a man of the match?
Can I just make one more comment about my mum? She said she seems to think the reason today or the last couple of performances have not been so good is probably because obviously the target at the start of the season wasn't just to stay up. It was obviously trying to finish better than 7th or equal 7th. But because they've probably stayed up, it's a bit like we've got so many injuries, we've got so many key players out. We don't want to, you know what I mean? We'll try and keep the squad as together as possible. You know what I mean? And I kind of agree, but I just wanted to make that point. First half, unfortunately, was a 0 because obviously we're 3-0 down. And I hate putting 0 because I love to be positive. Second half was a 1 because I don't want to put a 0 again. I do agree with yourself with man of the match. Sorry, was Eight Nori. My mum did make a joke saying man of the match was Steve Bull because he was the only fan in the crowd. But yeah, Eight Nori did some good crosses, and probably the only player that looked like he wanted to win the game today. But I don't like being negative. I would like to be positive.
No one likes being negative, you know. But when you've got a channel like this, which is a fan channel for Wolves fans, you've got to be able to put your points across. And sometimes you have to criticise when you see things. We're positive and when things are going well, but you have to say what's in your heart and how you feel. And sometimes you have to be negative because you have to criticise. And we're all struggling to find any positives out of today's match, mate. So don't be worried about that. Listen, Speedy, thanks very much for coming on and giving us the stats again and your point of view. Next up, we're going to have a debutant from Ireland. How's that? Thanks, Speedy.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Guys, and if you're enjoying this content and you're enjoying the show, please smash a like on the YouTube video. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a rating on there. That would be really appreciated. So as Speedy leaves, we've now got from Cork, I think it is. You're going to love this guy. We've got Dinny from Cork and Ireland, international fan. Hi, how are you doing, Dinny? And you're outside.
Hey Dave, yeah, I'm out the back garden. Lovely sunny day today. Like if you throw out the Irish stereotypes, it wouldn't be too far down the list to see that we get bad weather over here. Usually rain and fairly muggy weather. So when it was really sunny today, it made that second half all the more difficult to watch. But I stuck with it, even though it was really, really bad. I watched everybody.
You're from, is it Cork in Ireland that you're from?
From Cork, down south. Roy Keane's from my city, and Dennis Irwin. So I have my Dennis Irwin jersey on today. I don't know if you can see that. Whoa!
I think we can make it. That's a good answer. Before we get on to the game, mate, I'm sure everyone will be quite interested to know how come you ended up supporting the mighty Wolverhampton Wanderers, and look, by the sounds of it, for quite a long time.
Yeah, for the ages. Yeah, I've been a Wolves fan since 1995. There was a match played in 1995 when the Premier League was pretty new, and Sky were doing this big mega pitch of the thing they had when it was free to air, really, like when Sky was new. And Ireland had recently kind of qualified for their first World Cup in 1990, and I was young and I was in my teens, and people didn't really support English clubs in Ireland, and so I didn't really support the team. Lads in school supported Man United and Liverpool and stuff like that. And I remember seeing this FA Cup game that came up. It was Sheffield Wednesday against Wolves, and it was like there was this big advertising thing around the Wolves against the Owls, and it totally sucked me in. And I used to watch loads of Premier League games, and this one definitely sucked me in, and it was a draw at Hillsborough, and then it was the replay at Molyneux. And when you see when you're kind of newish to football, and you see Molyneux under the lights with it's the same layout as it is now with the gold seats, and it's when it lights up at night, it looks amazing.
That's it. Was that the penalty shootout?
That's the one, man. That's
and
the one, and it sucked me in.
2-0 after, and we won.
Yeah, to mind your 2-0, it was 3-0. If you want to have an underdog story, and everybody loves an underdog story, and if you're an Irish football fan, you're always the underdog. Not like being an English football fan, where you're going to win games. So it was like the game finished a draw again, and it went to penalties, and Wolves are 3-0 down on penalties, and ended up winning the game. It's ridiculous. It's on YouTube. John the Wolf takes a penalty. It's with his long hair. It's incredible. I was sucked in.
Chris Waddle from Sheffield Wednesday. He took the final one and missed, didn't he?
Yeah. That's right. You're dead on. You're on the ball. And I danced around my kitchen. I couldn't believe it. And I went. There used to be a store in the city where I live in Cork, where they could it was called Football Crazy, and then I said, have you any Wolves shirts? And I was going through all the Man U ones, the Everton ones, and he said, no, we can order you one. I said, all right, order me one. I ordered one of the international fan reaction ones. It's the nutmeg jersey with the city crest. Do you know the Goodyear one? Yeah, so I still have it. It kind of still fits me so many years later. But that's why I'm a Wolves fan. I just didn't support the team at the time. Got sucked in with the underdog story, and it's just been a love affair ever since.
Well, I think that's a great story. I mean, I think it's quite bold of you and everyone else for supporting Man U and Liverpool. That shows character that you went and picked the Wolves. And PKOK says his mum and dad are from Carlo, and he says hi.
Very good.
If you know Carlo. So let's get on to the game, mate. Let's give me your honest opinions about the game and thoughts. What point do you want to make?
I think I watched a couple of fan reactions there today, and I'd put myself in the old men category, I suppose. I don't know if you'd put yourself in that category, Dave, but I'm happy that Wolves are in the Premier League. I've seen the dark days. I remember the playoff attempting to get into the top 6 of the Championship and not getting there, and the almost getting there, and then when we got into the Premier League and got relegated and stuff like that. So for me, being in the Premier League is a huge deal. It's a real winner. Now that we're there, performing as badly as Wolves are is a real letdown. So I'm going to give Wolves an awful lot of leeway in terms of what's going on at the moment. They survived. Did we ever think that we'd be talking about Wolves as a relegation candidate given the last 2 years? But that's what happened this year. I really want to see next year an improvement. I don't know, given the current squad, are we going to see it? Even if you brought back all the injured players, if you consider all the things that have happened this year, the injured players coming back, are Wolves a good enough team to really perform like they had done the last 2 years? What do you think?
I think if we got the players back here, and we had a proper pre-season, I think we'd reset. But I do think it's quite apparent for me that we have to bring in some quality reinforcements. I mean, it's glaringly obvious we need if Nuno wants to switch to this 4 at the back, which I think he does, to make it. I mean, when we have played it, we've looked more attacking, but we've looked leaky at the back. I personally do not think Cody's the answer in a 4 at the back. I think he's I think he's a great player and a great leader and a great captain. And I think he's in a 5 when he's got 2 either side of him. Not today, obviously, but he's a lot more secure, and he can drop in and do a job as a 4 at the back. But against the really good sides or against these type of strikers, I don't think he's got the pace. I think that's me personally. I think it'd be Bolly and another quality centre back. I wouldn't mind seeing Cody move back into sort of a defensive midfielder position, still in the team, and I think that could be made to work. But obviously they need to work on that in pre-season. Getting Jimenez back would be key if he's on form. I think Pedenza's got something to offer. I think Neto, when we get him back, Johnny Otto hopefully comes back fit. We've missed him. You know, I wouldn't be averse to getting Matt Doherty back from Tottenham, personally.
Yeah.
You know, it's still of a good age, not worked out for him. Then if we got him back, it's almost like we sent him on loan for a season, potentially. But we've got to bring in the right people. Vitina, would you keep in? Morgan Gibbs White, has he got a future at Wolves? If he gets his attitude right, he's certainly got some skill. Otasowie, he's a strong lad. Love to see him. Kulbanu, he's looked great in the under-23s. Fabio Silva's definitely got something. But if we're going to bring people in the summer, they've got to make an impact on the squad. So I just think people won't accept the fact that unless we strengthen in the thing. And I think if we don't, it sets Nuno up to fail for next season. I think we've got to freshen things up a little bit, especially, you know, we can't keep relying on Moutinho. I'll tell you who we missed today a lot, Moutinho. He's 34, but he's got fight and hunger, and he's like a terrier. I don't think we'd have seen as bad a performance today. Moutinho would have been in the middle of the park. He would have got the game by the scruff of the neck and got everyone else going.
Well, how long are we saying box-to-box midfielder? Like, how long are we saying that?
Well, how long was we saying, and we said it on many podcasts, how long were we saying that we need a backup striker for Raul Jimenez? If he ever gets injured, what are we going to do? And we did it, did we?
I've said this thing before on a thing I've sent to the international fans reaction, that when Wolves come up from the Championship, it's like Wolves played Everton, and one of my best friends is an Everton supporter for years. We went to Molyneux and seen Everton playing Wolves at Molyneux and all that. And I sent him a text when Wolves are back in the Premier League for the first time. I said, what do you think? And he said, well, I think we've better players, the Everton guy. But he said, I think you've a better team. And Wolves did that first the year in the Championship, a great team. Team spirit knows what I'm talking about. Back in the Premier League, and then last year as well. But this year, like, the squad was paper thin. It was really a very thin squad, and we were all cheerleaders about it. We were saying, like, Nuno's, the squad is so together. They all know their positions. If one player goes out, another one comes in. He knows the system, and it was so solid, or we felt it was so solid. But I think this year it's kind of like the Emperor's wearing no clothes. You're not going to, what's that analogy? What's that called? The Emperor's clothes?
I know what you mean.
It's that, like, as soon as Raul got injured, and then we saw another couple of guys getting injured, and there was no cover there. There was nothing there. And as soon as you've no cover in the Premier League, you're going to get exposed straight away. Like when the little kid pointed at the Emperor and went, he's not wearing any clothes. It was like that. And as soon as that started happening, Wolves started sinking like a stone when they went, Jesus, like, I don't want to swear, sorry, Dave, but like 4-0 to Burnley. Are you joking me? Like, we started looking at the run into the end of the year going, like, we've all kind of, not that we've given up, but we've kind of went, all right, that's our year. We've had a poor, we all say, right, we've had a poor old year. Grand. We're playing all the bottom teams now for the rest of the year. Let's go and have a crack off it. Let's be a bit experimental, some people have said. But definitely let's clock up points and let's get goals, and let's have performances, let's have results. But Burnley 4-0, like, at Molyneux, where does that fit into all that? Like, I think it's been a bit of an indictment of Wolves, an indictment of Nuno and the way that they've been doing things. Of course, I'm so happy that Wolves are in the Premier League. I'm so happy that Nuno's the manager and the coach, and I do want him to continue. I can speak more about that. But it is an indictment of them that as soon as a couple of things started to go wrong, it was paper mache. Like, it was.
It's what a lot of cards come falling in. I think you made some really good points, mate, and you can see Dinny's immediate reaction after the game on the international fan. Dinny, just to finish off with, mate, your performance rating and your man of the match, if you can dig anything out of that.
I'm gonna go like the rest of the guys there, like Chris and the other lads. I can't give a performance to any of the guys. Like, the best thing I saw in the game from any Wolves player was when Bolly made a big defensive error, but did get back to recover his error. Like, that was a really, really good sign from that guy as a good centre half. But they were all terrible. There was no good player stood out to say that they'd get a match rating at all. Like, and as a match, I give it 2 out of 10.
A 2 out of 10, but no man of the match today. Dinny, thanks ever so much for joining us from Cork. Hopefully you'll come on again,
thanks,
mate. Everyone's loving the accent as well. It's a great accent. I love your accent, I must admit. I really think it's a brilliant accent.
Well, can I finish by saying it's a pleasure, Dave. I've been a fan for a while, and hopefully next year we'll be at Molyneux. I've been there loads of times. It's an easy flight from Cork to Birmingham, so hopefully next year.
That'd be great. Maybe come over. We'll definitely meet up before the game. That's for definite, 100%. Thanks, mate. And
Cheers, man.
Look out for Dinny on the International Fan. Will be out tomorrow. And enjoy the rest of your evening, buddy.
God bless, mate.
Forget about today's game. Forget about it. See you later. Absolutely brilliant. Top lad. Thanks, Dinny. Trudy saying, lovely to hear you. And I hope you're enjoying this. If you're enjoying the content, please smash a like on the video and consider subscribing. Next up, we're going to be bringing on the main man. It's Craig. How you doing? And Craig, I have to say, you're looking very dapper tonight, mate. Very smart.
Golf again, Dave. Golf again.
Oh, you've been the golfing. How did you get on with your golf, mate?
Just like Wolves crap. But there you go. Oh God, where do we start, Dave? Nuno, 100% supporter of him. If you've had a job for 4 years, and for 3 of those years had outstanding on your appraisal, and then you get through a rough patch, you'd be pretty miffed, wouldn't you? If your bosses called you in and said, "Off you go, you got to go." Yeah. So absolutely, I'm with him. I'm with him for the next 2.5 years, however long he's got left. As an excuse for them, Dave, they've had no break for 2 years. They're knackered. They played 90-odd games now, is it? Without any break at all. Mentally, they must be shattered. The injuries may be down to the fact that the bodies have had no rest whatsoever. We're the only club that's played this many games with this size squad, and the players, I think, have just been pushed that little bit too far. That's Nuno though, and his small squad. You can't have both. You can't have a small squad if you want to be a top 4 side. You can't do that. But we have got a recurring problem as well, Dave. We cannot play teams that are aggressive, that are in our face, and that do the dirty side of the game. We hate playing teams that are in our face, are physical, are on us. We just can't cope with that side. And Nuno keeps saying, we have to learn, we have to learn, we have to learn. But we're not learning this side of the game. Whenever a team press us, we absolutely capitulate 9 times out of 10. Losing to this Burnley side, 4th from bottom, having trouble scoring goals, 4-0 in our Palace is just unacceptable. That today was unacceptable. No passion, no fight, no teamwork, no zip, no anger. Everything that we've come to love from our side over the last 3.5 years was missing today, and it was embarrassing. Anybody says anything else, and they absolutely missing the point. You're absolutely right. We need a top quality centre half and a midfield player that's got energy, zip, and vision. Our goals for column, the second worst goal score for column in the Premier League. It says it.
That's actually true. Actually, yeah,
it
was poor, isn't it?
When we went 1-0 down, Dave, I put my head in my hands and thought, where is one goal going to come from, and definitely where are 2 goals going to come from, because we've had so much trouble scoring. And Burnley, no matter how poor a side they are, and the league table doesn't lie, they're where they deserve to be. They're well drilled and they're organised, and we looked. Oh, Dave, we looked shabby today, mate. We looked really poor. And I can only put it down to the fact that we've had no break for two years. So we have to give them that, and we have to say that the pride that we've had in the championship season and the 2 7th places. This game's a really tough game on a person's body when you play this game now. So to play 58 games last season, have what a 2-week break, was it? 3 days pre-season,
That's right. Yeah.
And then go into a really tough season where people have sussed us out, Dave. People know that if you press Wolves and you don't give them any space, you give yourself a really good chance to beat us. And I just on the sideline, while I've been waiting for you, been watching the Vileby v Tesco United game, and the Tesco players throwing themselves in front of the ball, thou shalt not pass attitude, and we lacked that today. Big
It's ended
style.
up 2-2, hasn't it? In the end, did it end up 2-2?
Yeah. Oh, it was a really sloppy. The second Villa goal, Dave, was an absolute shambles for defending. It was a mess. But up to that point, they were throwing themselves in front of the ball, sliding tackles, and it was. You could see that even though they've got a pretty poor side, what they've got in their side is passion and fight. And if we turn up next week, like we played today, and they play that way, it's going to be 3-4-0 without any doubt at all. We need to really get ourselves moving this week, energised, and realise that the Wolves side owe the fans big time, and they owe us.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think, I do think we're safe, definitely safe. We've had a bad season, but I do think that we lost to the West Birmingham Baggybergs earlier in the season at home, 3-2. And if we perform poorly next week, I mean, we've lost to Burnley today, and obviously there's a bit of a meltdown. But if we lose to Albion next week, playing like this, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be a complete, and I think that puts quite a lot of pressure on Nuno, because he does need to make sure these players, the bare minimum you want from a derby, and okay, you've not got the fans in the stadium, but the bare minimum from playing Albion is passion, fight for every single ball, and showing 150, 200% commitment. And we were so passive today, and it was like we were scared of Burnley, and all they really did was come out of the traps really strong with a good plan from Sean Dyche, and he keeps them up every year, and they just pressed us, and we had no answer to their press, and we just panicked, and we just didn't have any composure, and we just looked so like paperweight. It was like every time they came forward, we just so lightweight defensively. You just thought they bullied us. And they did, and Burnley didn't just play direct with long balls into the box and stuff like that. They played some quality football. They played the football. Wolves should play the football. Yes, we had more possession, but what did we do with it, Craig? What did we do with it?
Yeah, Dave, in this game, no matter what level, you've got to earn the right to play, and you've got to fight. I mean, Clough used to say, for the first 25 minutes of a game, you're winning your right to play football. So that's when you do all of the nasty stuff and the dirty stuff and side things. Hang on, we can't kick this side up off the pitch, and then you start to play. But 2 words for the Wolves side: fight and pride. And the next 5 games, I expect fight and I expect pride. I don't care how many games they've played over the last 2 years. They raised themselves for the last 5 games we've got left. Because that today was an absolute abysmal surrender of a team that looked like it hadn't had a day off for like 2 years, Dave. I've got no man of the match, because none of them deserved it, and I'm going to be the one that comes out and says 0 out of 10 for that performance today, because because that sort of performance for the Black Country people, for people that fight the way in life, that fight for everything they've got, that's not acceptable for us. We don't care when we lose, as long as our team sweats blood and tears for us, and they didn't do that today.
No, absolutely, mate. I mean, I think we all can see today. I mean, for me, I'm trying to think of a worse performance, team performance over a full 90 minutes that I can remember. And I think it's probably the worst performance. I mean, and Nuno has come out and said, you know, he's standing there and he sent him out. And sometimes in football, these things do happen where, I mean, sometimes you can send the same team out, they click and they're like amazing. And then sometimes the same team can go out and they just perform. And I'm just hoping it's one of those. We haven't been pretty in recent this season. We haven't played the scintillating counter-attack football like we've seen in previous seasons, but we have got the reasons for that. But Nuno's managed to get the players to grind out the results to get us to safety, you know. And there's a lot of teams that wish we were getting beat 4-0 by Burnley, and they were on 41 points right now. But saying that, you can't keep making the same excuses over and over again. But there are the circumstances. But they've got to beat. Because you know what it's going to like if the Birmingham Baggy Birds beat us next week and they go down, all we're going to hear for the next 5 years till they come back up to the Premier League is, well, you've not beaten us for 10 years or whatever, and 5-1. Do you know what I hope that goes and happens next week? And I hope they do. And the other half of my family actually are all West Bromwich Albion season ticket holders. Would you believe? I know. They are, and I'm not a hater of Albion or anything like that, but I obviously want us to well and truly beat them. And if we can go out and show some desire and beat them well next week, everything will be forgiven for everything. And players and Nuno and everyone, they need to know that, because if we beat Albion and we beat them well, we can just drift along till the end of the season and go, well, we've put that to bed now, get to the summer, reset, and that'll just take everything away. But if we don't, I think someone hit it on the nail there will be a few more that'll turn, and there'll be the Nuno out brigade will come out massively in force next year. But I will give this warning again to anyone that think, even if we did lose next week, we did that against Mick McCarthy, the whole thing fell apart, we ended up in League One. If Nuno goes, there's lots of the whole thing's going to could fall apart very, very quickly, and we could end up in a free fall. What we need at the end of this season is a reset and a rest and the right summer, and Nuno getting some break and time, and to try and bring in the changes that he's put across, like the 4 at the back, and get the right players, and then reset, restart. And I think personally we'll come good next year, and we'll be having, I personally think we'll have a great season. If after 10 or 15 games we've still got this, then even me would probably say maybe that's the time to change. But now's not the time to make a snap thing. What would be the point now? We need some stability is what we need.
I agree with you, David. Last thing, we need to win, because I've sort of got my piece ready, right? And I don't want it changed to the funeral march, all right? So you know, we need to be able to play the piece that I've practiced, and not the funeral march next week on my tuba. So there you go.
Oh yeah, because we do have a treat for everyone next week, which I have to remind. Craig, it plays for a top brass band. What's your brass band called?
Well, it was Flowers. I retired 2 years ago, but they were ranked 5th in the world. We played the Albert Hall. You played the Royal Albert Hall, haven't you? Yeah, I've done that 12 times in the national championships and on concerts. Yeah, but I retired from serious playing 2 years ago, Dave. So I'm I'm rusty, but I can still knock a tune out. Hopefully.
No, that's great because I've said all along Craig's going to get the tuba out for the West Brom game, so let's hope that it's a victory march rather than a funeral march, man.
Have you noticed my beard? It's been shaved a bit.
Oh
so
yeah,
can,
you've been,
so that's so I can get an airtight seal on my face. That's all that is.
I'm looking forward to it, mate. That will be something to look forward to next week. Craig, thank you so much for.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm sorry you didn't have a great day on the golf course either, but at least the weather's nice.
Absolutely. Bless you, mate. You take care.
All right. Take care, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, bud. Hello, mate.
Absolutely brilliant from Craig. And we do have a final caller today. Scott. Scott, thank you for waiting patiently. Sometimes you're on first, sometimes you're in the middle, and sometimes we keep you till the end. And I have to say, because people do go on about the wallpaper, your wallpaper is spectacular.
Thank you.
It's very, very, very flowery. I like it, mate. We like our flowery wallpaper here. And you've got some comics up there as well, have you, mate?
Yeah, it's a poster of all the DC comics, all the original ones, the old ones.
Are you a big DC fan?
More Marvel than DC, but yeah.
I do like Marvel.
I've always said that Marvel is the best comic, but DC has the best villain and hero.
No, well, I think you're right. And during the first lockdown, I watched all the Marvel films, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., in timeline order from like thing. It was how it all links together. It was quite interesting to watch. Scott, as well, I just want to say as well, congratulations that your Bushbury team got their first victory today. That must feel good to take a little bit of the the edge off Wolves getting beaten 4-0. Well done to your team today that you coach and manage. Well done for that.
Today was a really horrible day until Bushbury played. So basically, my son plays in the mornings as well, and he played 2 games today. They lost 4-0 and 7-0. Then I've come home to watch the Wolves, and I was watching the first half and watching us crumble. And then I had to leave because I had to head to Walsall for the Bushbury game. So I was listening to the rest of it on the radio. And then when we arrived at the ground, we got told that they scored a 4th, and I was like, "Oh God, no!" I was like, "That just sums it up, really." And then obviously Bushbury went and shocked me by winning 6-0. So. Yeah,
and I'm glad for that. So that made up for it, mate. Absolutely. And well done on that. And pass that on. Best wishes to you, all the boys over there. One of these days we'll get down. And what's your take on the game? What points do you want to make, mate?
For me, it's more about, like, obviously I will talk about the game, but it's just about the Nuno issue. Like, straight away, like I saw somebody put a picture up of Nuno with like the clown makeup on, and it just bugged me. Have we come so far that we're disrespecting?
That is total disrespect.
Yeah, the greatest manager of our era.
That is disrespect.
Yeah, but it's just one of them now where this guy is in uncharted waters. We're in a situation now where we've had a season which has been up and down through injuries, COVID, pandemics, anything that you can name off. It's probably one of the worst seasons ever. And like Craig just said, we're coming off the back of probably our longest season in our history as well.
It's the longest season in any Premier League. Clubs history, competitive.
And yet some of these fans believe that, Nuno's not the one, let's get rid of him. You should judge Nuno on next season. If we play 10 games and we're in the same mess, then yes, get rid of Nuno, get somebody else in, get a fresh look. Because like one of my friends told me the other day, everybody has a shelf life. But you can't judge Nuno on a season where he is dealing with something he's never dealt with before in the Wolves position. So we've been spoilt, Dave. Like, we won the championship with his first season in charge. His second season in charge, he got us to finish 7th and qualified for Europe. I think that was the season we got to the semi-final as well, wasn't it, of the FA Cup? And then the following season, we're traveling Europe and we get beaten out by the eventual winners.
Late on in the game, although they did play us off the park, but we did play with some fight and passion, and organisation, and we got caught right at the end.
Yeah, and we finished 7th again, and we only missed out on Europe because of obviously who won the FA Cup. And then you come to this season, which has been an awkward season for every club, and I mean every club, right? But Wolves, and I will always make this case for Wolves, Wolves have had it a lot more difficult than any other club. Look at we lose Johnny before the start of the season. All the new lads that came in didn't have a pre-season under Nuno, didn't have time to gel. Then we lose Raul. Then we've had players in and out like Yo-Yos, Bolly, Podence, even
Marcel.
Johnny. Marcel. Exactly. And then Neto suddenly shines in what's been a really dark season, and then we lose him. And it's one of them where you can't judge Nuno on this. You should be judging Nuno on a season where he's had time to get a decent transfer window in the bag, buy the players that he needs to bolster the team, have a pre-season with them all gelling and getting together, and then see what happens. And if after 10 games we are down the bottom, then by all means, get rid of him, get somebody else in. But I guarantee you, and I'll bet money on it, we will be up the top next season.
Arsenal for Life has just come on here, and he said Wolves will definitely not go down. Once you have a full squad, you'll be right, probably challenging for top 8 again.
Exactly. I think what it is with the current situation, right? We get all this greatness given to us by Nuno, and we expect that we should be getting met. We should be getting more. Why should we be getting more? Nuno says it in every press conference he appears on. We should remember where we came from, and that's the Championship. We are a Championship team, right? Coming to the Premier League, then going into Europe. Never forget where you come from, because you can easily go back there. Mike McCarthy got sacked after that Baggies game all those years ago, and look what happened after that. We get double back-to-back relegations. Be careful what you wish for. At the minute, Nuno has got that much credit in the bank, and with everything that's gone on this season, this guy should be given all the time and respect that he has earned to put things right. And if he doesn't do it by, say, 10 games into next season, then by all means start looking for a new manager. And even I will be climbing that fence to get onto Nuno's back. But until then, I'm always going to be Nuno in, because the guy has earned the right to have my support, because he has given me some of the greatest moments that I've had since I've been a Wolves fan. And it's just, I just don't get the lack of respect. It's like we think we're privileged. We should have more than this. Look, I would love for us to be challenging Champions League football. I would love for us to go and win the Premier League. But realistically, if you're going to build something, right, work on a project to get us to be one of those top 6 clubs constantly, one of those top teams that's always in the picture for cups and everything, then it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a process. And that process has been damaged in this season because of all the circumstances that have happened in this season. It just annoys me, because like, it's not all Wolves fans, because I would say it's a strong 75% of Wolves fans want Nuno in. Nobody's doubting Nuno. Like you say, if we lose to Baggies next week, I'm still Nuno in. I'll be annoyed and I'll be angry, but I'm still Nuno in, because this season for me, I just want it done. Let's concentrate on the next one. But the 25% that want him out, like, come on, like,
I don't think it's even 25%. It's just a vocal.
Yeah.
It's a vocal 5%. You know what it's like on these socials. They're very vocal. You know, I will challenge any Nuno out person. And I'm not like you, Scott. I'm not saying that he's going to be here forever and a day. But I do think that, you know, you have to put things in context with the season that we've had. And even though we've had a bad season and we've had all these injuries, we're still safe. He's still got us to safety with games.
We're 12th. We're 12th. We could still slip into the top 10. Yet people are still like carrying on the way they are.
Exactly. And I will go and say, and I will challenge anyone that says Nuno out to come on here, to come onto this channel, put your face on her and have a chat to me. You know, even if it's after the Albion game, and Amy, and come and put your point and say why and who you're going to get to replace him. Because I fear sometimes fans can be quite fickle, and the easier answer is just get rid of the manager. Just get rid of the manager. That's the simple answer. Oh, yeah, it's not working out. We're having a bad run of form or this, that, and the other. Let's sack the manager. And the next thing you know, you're out the league and you're pivoting down. There's no plan.
We should be happy that we got owners that want to try and build something here to get us to that level of being a top 6 club, constantly battling for trophies, right? And they're not going to do what, like, say, Roman Abramovich and Chelsea did. Like, look at Di Matteo. He won the Champions League, then gets sacked. Like, we haven't got owners like that. We've got an owner that knows that this is the plan, this is the goal. We want to get to here, but this is how we're going to do it. He already came out and released a statement ages ago saying that they're already behind Nuno. This season for them is done because they understand the issue that's going on in the world and all the injuries we've had. So they're not going to judge Nuno. That's why we could lose 6-0 to Baggies, but Nuno's not going to get sacked because Fusen understand that this season's just been that type of season. Next season, however, if they're not seeing any progression,
then
right?
they'll act. They will act.
Exactly,
And
they will.
They look. You've got to look. You've got to. Sometimes you have to take the passion and the immediate anger and passion out of football. And you have to take a step back and you have to look at it strategically. If we do this, what will happen? I tell you now, if Nuno left and goes to somewhere like Spurs, which I don't think he will, you just know that X amount of players are going to end up. He's going to check. That's going to go follow him. We're going to lose all his backroom staff. We're going to lose the medical team. All of these things are going to be gone. Yeah, they can bring in a new manager and this, that, and the other, but there's no guarantee of that happening. What would be the point in doing that when the manager has not had a proper pre-season to be able to implement these things? The acid test is the summer transfer window. Who we keep, who we sell, who we bring in, and the formation that we start the season with next year, the things that they've worked on, and then we will have a good idea, because sometimes in life you have to take a step back. If you get knocked down 9 times, you stand up 10. You do not put up the white flag. You continue to fight. You continue to believe. Now is not the time. Even if we end up losing to Albion next week, it is not the time. The time would be 10, 15 games if it's not working next year.
A perfect example would be this. Doherty left. He brought Semedo in to replace him, right? Semedo didn't hit it off the ground straight away. Why? No pre-season. No time to gel with new teammates. Thrown into a brand new league and told to just perform, right? Say, for example, none of that happened and you got a pre-season. The Semedo that's got better and better and better as the season's got on, right? All that bad Semedo that we had at the beginning wouldn't have existed with a pre-season. We would have got the good Semedo straight away. And then all it would have been was him gelling to the league, but he would have already gelled with his team. Do you see what I mean? So for me, Semedo gets a pre-season under Nuno next season. He's instantly going to be, he's instantly going to be better. But people are that quick to judge, like the Judge Silva, the Judge, like all the players. Do you know what I mean?
Scott, just a point there on Silva. People judge Silva. He's rubbish. He's terrible. This, that, and the other. And then he comes on and for 15 minutes at the end, why are we not starting Silva?
That's the thing. That's how fickle some of these fans can be, and it bugs me. They've got on Silva's back all seasons since he replaced Raul. The moment we get Jose in, these same fans that were on Silva's back are coming out now saying, hey, how about we play Silva? Jose's no good. Seriously, like, for me, I've always said it from the beginning, this guy was coming in to play under 23 games, make bench appearances. He was thrown into the deep end because of the incident that nobody saw coming with Raul being injured. For me, he did a good job. Yes, he struggled. Of course he's going to struggle. He's an 18-year-old lad who's just joined a brand new league system, right? Then we get Jose. We get Jose in to replace him, a bit more experience. But again, Jose's still got the same problems. Got to gel with a new team. Got to gel with a new league system. And of course, Silva's going to be better when he comes off the bench because he's only got 15 minutes. And in that 15 minutes, he's going to show what he's already learned.
PKOK, I just want to pick up on this point that you're on about pre-season. I want to make the point that I'm trying to put across to you, fella. Basically, it's not on about who we play. We don't just play Bohemians. They build up the matches up to usually playing a Spanish league or Italian league. There was plans for Wolves to go and play in Texas against Raul's old team, as well as part of these things. All these things didn't happen. My point is, it's about the training on the pitch. It's about working on shapes. It's about players understanding their positions. That's what the pre-season is. Wolves had 3 days to do it, and
he's mentioning Behemoths there. Like, did you forget that we were in a cup in Austria against different teams? Did you forget that we were in China in a cup against Premier League teams? We don't always play Behemoths. Like Dave's just said, we play teams in pre-season to help gel the squad and to get used to playing the system that he's trying to learn. That's why when Nuno started this season, straight away, he probably wanted to play a back 4. He's tried to change it, but the only reason why it hasn't worked is because different players are coming in because we've lost players. We've got new players who are still trying to gel with the team as it is, and then you just told them we're changing the formation. I guarantee you next season, when we have the pre-season, he will push the back 4. He will teach them the back 4 because he knows that's the way to get more goals.
And hopefully we'll have the players. He's been trying to put round pegs in square holes. People were desperately wanting us to change from a back 5 to try something different. He did it. We were more offensive, but we didn't have the defence who hadn't had the time on the training ground or the right people in those roles, which is why we lead goals.
If you're halfway through a season and you change the formation, unless you've played that formation before, it's never going to work. But he's tried it because he's trying to fix the solution. He's trying to be a manager. He's trying to fix the problem there. And obviously it didn't work. It backfired. Yeah, we scored more goals, but we let more in. This is why you have a pre-season, to practice this stuff. But people just forgot that we didn't have a pre-season. Like, you all want Europe. You all want trophies. The moment we get it, right, we get to the quarterfinals, we lost to the eventual winners, and now we're suffering the consequences of that because we had no preseason and no time to prepare.
But we're still 12
for the next season.
But we're still 12.
Exactly.
Scott, one thing, and obviously we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left to finish the show. The one thing that we've not touched on, I'm not so sure. I think whether Nuno made the right decision in bringing Neves into the team today, bearing in mind he's self-isolated for 10 days. I know that he got out, he got clear, he might have had a day or 2 training, but was he fully match fit? Because I'm not so sure he was, and I think that's why we may have got overrun in midfield today.
I could tell you exactly what Nuno was thinking. When Moutinho picked up that injury, I guarantee you Otawazi was probably starting in the middle. Or Kilman was starting at the back and Sace was in the middle with Dendoncker. That was probably what he was thinking. But the moment Neves came through and got cleared, he's thought, well, I'll go with Neves because Neves has played there the whole time. And we're not going to get the same Neves that we're used to for the simple reason he's still, even though like he's had 10 days isolation, if he had COVID, it still knocks you around. You still ain't going to be the same. Like, I've had friends who have had it, and they've told me, like, after those 10 days, they're still feeling the effects. And that's why Neves weren't Neves that we know. But he's put him in thinking that he's going to do the job to some kind of level. For me, personally, he should have gone with Otawazi.
I think that was a mistake. And Nuno should probably he put him in because he'd tried and trusted. But in hindsight, I don't think Neves was on it today. And if Neves isn't on it and we don't control the midfield, this is what I was saying. If Moutinho had been in that midfield today, I guarantee you it wouldn't have been 4-0 and you'd have seen Wolves better, because Moutinho's got that experience, that leadership, that fight. He would have took that game by the scruff of the neck, even at 34. And I don't think we'd have had that performance. And I just think
let's just hope he's back for Baggies.
That just coming back from COVID, and Dendoncker weren't anywhere.
It comes to some of my friends say, like, oh, I wish we would see the young players play, and so do I. But I don't think you'll ever see any of the young ones getting a run out until after we've played Baggies, because that's the biggest game. Because we're not going to get relegated now. We're safe, in my opinion. Baggies is a must-win game, so he's going to play his strongest team. But then after that, he's probably going to show some of the young lads a chance. Like, for me, Otawazi should have started today alongside Donk. But like, I think he just went with tried and trusted and hoped Neves would do a job. But for me, it was too soon. Neves coming back. But Otawazi will start to feature after that Baggies game. I know we will.
Well, Artasoe, Vitina, Kabani, all of these players hopefully will get some game time towards the end. But the Albion match does become a massive game, even bigger so. I mean, from what I'm hearing, we're just going to finish off, and I'm going to ask you for your performance rating and your man of the match, Scott, in a second.
Okay.
With Albion 2-2, I think if Brighton win, Wolves can relegate Albion next Monday. If we beat Albion, and if Brighton get a result when they play, Wolves can send Albion down. How amazing would that be if we beat them and actually relegate them?
It would literally be the only good thing to come from this season, us relegating them. It's like a lot of people get stuck in this thing. And look, I hate Albion. I can't stand them. Like, I've got friends that are Albion fans, and they are decent people. But when it comes to football, we can never agree on anything because I can't stand Albion, full stop. So if they get relegated by us, it would make my day, and that's revenge for when they did it to us. However, I do think some fans get too suckered in by the whole thing. For me, Baggies were always going to go down regardless. And I think, obviously, when they're back in the Premier League, we're going to be excited for it. We want to play them. We want to win. But when we lost to them the first time, like, some fans calling for Nuno to be sacked there and then. Like, look, I get it. We want to beat Baggies. We want the bragging rights, but it's Baggies. Baggies are not at our level anymore. And they won't be for years to come. Why are we so bothered about them? It's one of them where Baggies were in the Premier League for longer than us, but did nothing in their whole time in there. We've done more in our short time in the Premier League than they did in their whole time there. Why are we so bothered about this game? If they beat us 6-0, that's their FA Cup win. Let them have it. Next season, we'll be fighting for Europe. What do you want?
The problem is, Scott, with that, is that it doesn't matter how successful Wolves are following that. They'll always go, well, we beat you twice. Well,
it's like Villa. It's like Villa with the European Cup. We won the European Cup. So what? That was in 1980 something. What have you done since? Nothing. Like, we've done more. We've won more trophies than you in that time. Yeah, maybe a League One title, and a Championship title, but still more trophies than you. Like, they couldn't even win the Championship to get into the Championship, Villa. And Baggies the same. Yeah, and Baggies the same. Like, it's just, for me, these teams at the minute, like, I will give Villa their due this season. They have been pretty decent, and they've been
but
great.
let's face it, Villa are only still in the division because the goal line technology failed, and that goal was ruled out from Sheffield United or whoever it was that scored against them. Yeah. Otherwise, they would have gone down, and that was lucky because they would have gone down. Listen, we have to beat Albion next week. We have to put this to the bed. We've lost 4-0 today. In some ways, when a team gets beat convincingly, we've seen it happen with Southampton and stuff like that. I mean, Liverpool lost 7-2 to Villa. These things can happen. It was a bad performance. It was a terrible performance. There's no excuse for it. But it will hopefully give them even more motivation now that they've got to come back and show. If we'd have coasted today and they'd have gone and faced Albion next week and just thought, oh yeah, we'll go through. Maybe this result will be just what we need. Maybe.
What I would say is, if we play exactly like we did against Burnley, against Baggies, we're going to get thumped. That was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen under Nuno, and it was upsetting. But I don't blame Nuno. I blame the team because there was no effort from any of them. Like, it was just stupid mistakes, stupid football. It was crap. And I only watched the first half. The second half I listened to on the radio.
Yeah,
but. It's just like we made, like, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Statman said, like, we made them look like Barcelona. We did. We made Burnley look like Barcelona. We give them one of their biggest wins they've ever had in a long time. And it's one of them where the one criticism I had with that Baggies game when we first played them was none of them wanted it. And you would have thought somebody like Cody and Gibbs White would have told the players, this is a big game. Like, this is for the bragging rights. Like, we need to win this. But they didn't show that, right? If they go in with that same attitude when we play them again, then we're going to lose again. For me, to save this season, to give the pressure off Nuno and the lads ready so they can prepare for next season, we've got to do Baggies, and we've got to do them comfortably.
100%. To finish off on then, Scott, man of the match and your performance rating?
I'm going to follow the group, and there's no man of the match for me. Match rating, I'll give them 1, just because I still love Wolves. But that's it.
Well, that's fair enough. I think most people, I think we've struggled to get above 2 in terms of the match rating today. My performance rating, I think, is probably going to be about a 1 or a 2. I went with 8 Norrie. Go on, Scott, quickly.
I'll give Bushbury 10 now for today.
Well done on Bushbury. Listen, guys, it's been a great extra time. We've had some great guests on as well today. If you want to get on for the Albion game, which will be of the same day, it'll be on the same evening after the game on Monday, then make sure you get on. I think that whatever happens, that's going to be a big show in terms of like whether we win or whether we draw or whether we lose. It's going to be hopefully a happy show. And make sure you check out that. If you're brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hit the bell because you'll always get notified. If you're listening to this on podcast, hope you're enjoying it driving around. It's been a bad day at the office for Wolves. Fair play to Burnley. They want that. You've got to give them credit. And they're going to stay up. It looks like they're staying up again. But we have a massive Black Country derby. But it's not a real one without the fans, is it, Scott?
No.
But it's going to be a massive one.
And that's one key thing. That's one key thing we missed this season as well. The 12th man.
The 12th man, we were missing. The only thing I would say that if Albion did end up staying off by some miracle, which I can't see happening now. I mean, especially as they lost those 2 points against Villa. Would be having a proper Black Country derby with a proper full house, and we haven't had
just out for a cup match.
Exactly. So let's hope we can get the result next week. Hopefully the positives, and we can have a good performance against the West Birmingham Baggy Birds, and maybe send them boing back down to the Championship. Until next time, from myself, all the guys in the chat, all the guys that have been on the screen, and Scott, always Wolves.